You're listening to the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast, brought to you in part by the Gumball Head Sobriety Society and generous listeners just like you. For the latest updates, check out the link in our bio.
Oh, hey guys. How's everybody doing? It's the July 8th afternoon edition of the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast. I'm your host, Gumball Head, stopping in with a post-morning drive podcast. Whew. What a day. Together, lights in the studio already. It's almost as if you were sitting there waiting for it. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Good to see your face. Good to see your name. It's after 5, so it's 5-ish. Exhausted. Rough day, man. How's work going for you? Not sure what job you're working now. You change a lot. But, oh, no, I do know where you're working at. Because you go in at 5 a.m., right? So, yeah, it was a long day. I'm pulling out of the driveway at work right now and we're heading home. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but at the beginning of our podcast and at the end of our podcast, we've got some advertising. It's a new feature for us, something that we're trying out, and hopefully it works out okay. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how things work out, and I don't know if I just went quiet. Did I just go quiet for a second there? I'm not sure if I did or not, but I always forget to set my time on my phone, my screen time out for 10 minutes. So it's important for me to do that, because if I don't, then it goes black, and then we have momentarily silence. Nobody wants to be silent. I will not be silenced. Do you have a lot of stops today, man? Is it a busy day? Tomorrow, after I get out of work, I'll be doing a side job. Be stopping and finishing up a side job. Just signed a contract today for another one. Getting some of that monetization taken care of on my side of things. Say, just a side note here. Did you remedy that situation with your supervisor and his son? No, still going on? I just say stay out of it, man. At this point, you've been there long enough. Show up, do your job, go home. Don't give them a reason to give you a reason, It's just, yeah, I'm sure, and it sucks that you're in that situation, but don't let it hinder you. Don't let it hinder your ability to do your job, and don't let it hinder your credibility when it comes to stuff. Yeah, just let them do it. Let them do it. It's the best you can do. Just let them have it. Safest bet is to just let it go. Just let it go. Hell yeah. You should be listening to the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast. Let's see here. I'm getting text messages. This morning, my podcast, I don't know if you listened to it or not. 18 people did already. Let me just get a hell yeah on the soundtrack. I want to make sure that we're good. This morning I did a podcast about mind over body, or mind versus body. Now, I think it's important for us to understand that our mind controls our body controls our mind. As long as we allow our mind to properly control our body and our body to properly control our mind, you take care of that. We can take care of 90% of our problems. Once we separate the two, once there's independence between our mind and our body, though, if our mind doesn't listen to our body when there's something wrong, it's how we get injured. It's how we get sick. It's how we fall into a conundrum. If we don't let our body listen to our mind, when our mind says, I'm tired, get some rest. I'm thirsty, drink some water. I'm hungry, eat some food. Now, at 11 o'clock at night when you're sitting there playing Call of Duty with your buddies with a bag of chips on one side and a 2-liter Mountain Dew on the other side. That's just the munchies, right? But realistically, when we sit down with a bag of chips and a 2-liter of pop, we're already setting ourselves up for the example of boredom. We're already setting ourselves up for failure because we are preempting the intention of eating a bag of chips and drinking a 2-liter of pop. Now, not everybody does that. I don't do it. I pour a cup. I've got plenty of Miyoki cups in the house. I can easily get 30 ounces of liquid into a cup and sit down with it. But once I get done drinking that cup of soft drink, pop, I drink a cup of water. I alternate, because I could sit down and drink an entire 2-liter of Mountain Dew without a problem. But then I stay awake, The next day my kidneys actually hurt because of the sugar that I ingested, because of the caffeine that I took in, because I can't sleep because I'm wired from the caffeine. Now, Mountain Dew doesn't, really have the amount of caffeine in it that energy drinks do, but it still has a pretty high content of caffeine in it, more than a cup of coffee. And lately I've been drinking a lot of coffee. I've been staying away from the energy drinks. I had a Monster today at 4 o'clock. It was gifted to me by my boss. And she knows I'm not supposed to be drinking them, but she went and got one. She got 4 for $6 or 4 for $8 or whatever the gas station has them for. She's like, hey, there's a Monster in there if you want it. Fuck yeah, I want it. Of course I want it. It's been one of those days. But I drank it, and I'm already feeling, a little crappy from it. The buzz, it's a buzz. Going a couple of days without an energy drink. Now I'm kind of already on that caffeine downslide. I'm already on the I shouldn't have done that. On the crash. As you can tell by the yawns, and by the way, we're going to cut this podcast before I get home today. I have stopped at the gas station, put gas in the car, and pick up some nicotine. The nicotine has been doing well. Yesterday, I went the entire day without a dip. And today I went through an entire can. So I did a good job yesterday. I failed today. I've been pouching it. I've been doing the Zins, and they just don't quite do it for me. And I think that's where the source. Oh, we're not going the highway. Holy non-moving traffic. 2 lanes out of 4 are blocked. We are definitely not going. It's backed up on the off ramp and everything. Of course it is on a 90-degree day while you're stuck inside a car after working I worked, let's see here, it's 5:30. I worked a 10-hour day. I was there just a little bit, well, I guess it was 9.5-hour day. So take away a half hour for lunch, I worked a 9-hour day. But I got there at 8:06 this morning. I got to be there by 9. But I get there right around 8 o'clock because I know that, I'm going to have things that I need to do. And I get there at 8 o'clock because I go through and I do the grounds. We don't enter apartments until 9 o'clock anyways. I got everything I wanted to get done today done, with the exception of painting a bathroom. But we'll get to that this week. It's something that I still plan on doing. I have a resident that's gone quite a few weeks without a door because the fire department was there and kicked it in. He had a door. He just couldn't lock it. He could lock it, but it didn't lock all the way. So we had to finagle a new door in its place, and we got it in, and it worked, and we're happy, and everything's good. Deadbolt works. Handle works. I had to make it work. It was an adjustment, but it does work. And I'm proud of myself for it. And it's not exactly the same replacement as what was in there before, but on an apartment complex, it's, 30 years old, 40 years old. It's going to struggle to find that door anyways. So we did our best and did what worked, what we got happening, made it work. So accomplished. I feel accomplished today. I feel good today. And I made a statement about this yesterday, and I kind of want to know what everybody's feedback is. What do you think about me talking about my day via podcast on my way home? I mean, if you think about it, the reason why I do it, there's a couple of reasons why I do it. Number one, it keeps me occupied on the way home. I don't like listening to the radio anymore. It kills the dead space in my head, kills the dead space in my mind. Let's see here. Okay, whatever. But I also am able to talk about the things that happen throughout the day and how I handled those situations. That's primarily why I do the live now on the way home, because I was faced with a lot of difficulties today. I was faced with a lot of situations throughout the day, and I overcame adversity multiple times today. Now, I'm in an apartment that we're working on that has a mouse. When I was replacing the countertop in this apartment, I found the mouse's nest. I got rid of it, and I was back in there today, and I see that there's still remnants of a mouse in there. Now, mice, we don't get a lot of those in our apartment community because we have a lot of cats in our apartment complex that live there. So we don't get a ton of mice because there's cats. Mice just don't come there. They stay away. Sometimes they do occupy the apartments, and sadly we have to eradicate them. We don't want them. We don't want mice. They tear up the carpets. They tear up the walls. They tear up, they leave poop everywhere. And we do our best. And we work really hard on pest control. I mean, our property is very clean. It's very, I would say pristine, but it's not. We have a lot of residents that, if I don't go into their apartments, I don't know how they live. So I can't speak for all of them. But for the most part, people keep to themselves in our community. They don't come out and party and rock and roll, outside of their apartment unless they're on their patio. But there are a lot of people that do hang out with each other and chat with each other, and but I was happy to see when I came in on Sunday. I went in for a couple hours on Sunday and cleaned up the grounds and did some pre-week work, a little post-holiday cleanup. I was really happy Sunday that there was not a ton of, blown up fireworks and this and that, but there were a lot of beer bottles, and it kind of makes me wonder, I get done at work 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. When did these people start drinking? Do they wait until they see my car pull out of the parking lot and they start to party? Because every morning, here are my most picked up items around our property. Change. I pick up change all the time. I picked up 21 cents today. 21 cents divided by 8 hours. Well, do the math. It was like 3 cents an hour, almost 3 cents an hour extra that I made today. Not a ton, but it's 3 cents an hour I wasn't making before. It's 21 cents I didn't have when I started my day. And I was going through my jar today. I pulled out some dollar bills. And what I usually do is I'll buy change. I'll buy dollar bills out of my change thing, but I won't just dig in there and take dollar bills out. And I get dollar bill. I find dollar bills all the time. $5 bills sometimes. Found a 20 a couple of weeks ago. Found a wad the other day. It was $5 bill and 3 ones, so $8. I just throw them in this jar. And then when I, want an energy drink or something like that, I have to find the change in order to make that. So what I do is over the next, 3-4 days, I put the change in my pocket. And then I take that change and I put it into the jar and I cash out the change into dollar bills. So I keep a running tally in my brain of what I've got in there. Right now there's about $40 worth of change. But I can tell you this for 100% sure, there's at least $19 in quarters alone. I'm not including pennies, nickels, and dimes. And I'll pick up 100 pennies off the ground. That's $1, guys. It's $1. And then what I do is, when the jar is full, I take it to Meijer. I pour the change in. I get the change back from Meijer. in dollar bills. I buy whatever it is that I need in Meijer. And then I put those dollar bills back into the jar until I start buying my dollar bills back. So I'm never really without the money because it's money that I find laying around. And if I get a buck's worth of change in my pocket, I'll buy a dollar bill out of there. I bring it home. I give it to the kids. It's not money I'm out. It's all money that started off finding the money in the first place. It's a way to pay myself back. And yeah, sometimes I do go out there and spend the money on things that I don't need. But I do want to make a statement. I found something today that I was really happy about. I bought I love snack, like the snack pies, like Boston cream pies. I like the chocolate pies, the Little Debbie ones, but I have a 7-Eleven right out in front of where I work. And today I was in there. I was like, "Oh, chocolate one sounds good." They're only $1. And like I said, I cashed out some of my dollars today. Porcupine Podcast just came in. Hey, Porcupine Podcast. Thanks for coming in today. Good to see you. Thanks for joining another one of those people that, podcast. Just have fun. Welcome in. This is the Road Rant series. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. I just get on the way home and I bitch about my day. That's it. In New York City, hell yeah. Ohio here. New York to Ohio. Beautiful, beautiful. Love to see that. Glad to see you in here. You can check out our other podcasts. We've got the Get to Know You series where we interview our friends, our followers. We support them. We support our followers. We follow our supporters. Most of them are from social media like TikTok. How you doing, Emilio? Good to see you in here as well. But we interview people, and I would love to interview a podcast host. If you're interested, Facts Porcupine, please send me an email and let me know. NormalIsn'tNecessaryPodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to have you on as a guest and see what your approach to the podcast is. Most of our podcasts, when we do our interviews, are either mental health based or recovery from addiction based. And when we interview bands, we just talk about their music. But the idea is to promote those people out there that need the promotion. On our social media, when we bring on guests from TikTok, we're very selective, 5,000 or less followers. We don't want those people that have a huge following because they're not the ones that need the boost. Same thing with businesses. We bring in the small businesses with niche concepts. We talk about their niche concepts. To put it in perspective, L.A. Rogers, SFX, she's a makeup artist out of Georgia. We brought her on our show. She was our very first guest. Brought her on because her hobbies interested us. We talked about her makeup. Now she's doing indie films, and I'm not taking credit for that at all. I'm just saying, these people, we build up their spirits enough to where they can drive and grind. And, those people keep us motivated to do the podcast as well. And I'm an old retired DJ from back in the 2000s. And this gives me an opportunity to get back on at least the airways, not necessarily the radio. But we are on iHeartRadio. We're on iTunes. We're on Amazon, Audible, Spotify, everything the podcast offers, and then about 400 more. So pretty big. Not a ton of followers here. Podcast is just a landing pad. Most of our followers are out there in other iterations. We have, I think, our largest following at this point now with our podcast followers is now on Spotify. So we have a ton of followers on Spotify. And we're growing substantially on iTunes. 2 weeks ago, we hit the iTunes recommended podcast. I was pretty proud of that. So, and it was because of the Get to Know You series. But we interviewed L.A. Rogers. That was our first one. We've interviewed somebody who's dealing with a bunch of workman's comp stuff with Walmart. We interviewed a financial advisor who is also a Masonic brother of mine, Michael Sanders Banks. We interviewed a hypnotist. We do a lot of bands. Tonight we're interviewing a band called Anti-Wise out of New York. Not sure if you've ever heard of them. We interviewed the podcast host Anarchy to Diapers. We've interviewed the Theorists. So we do a lot of music. We do a lot of meta love. Meta means love, means understanding, means appreciation. And then recently we've interviewed a couple of our good friends from the past, and we just had a basic, sit down, casual series, the Get to Know You series with Daniel Fogel. That was a part of our memory series, and we were just talking about how life was. The coolest thing about that interview with Daniel Fogel is he kind of brought it to my attention that back even in 1997, 1998, I had the same idea. I had the same mission. I had the same concept in mind. It just hadn't come to fruition yet. He said, you were there for me when I needed someone the most, and you've never turned your back on me. Now, here's a little backstory on the Daniel Fogel thing, though. Some of the deep, dark sides of things, and how much negative influences don't impact me. Daniel rented my home from me back in the 90s. After I left in 1999. Yeah, early 1999. He had lived with us for a couple of months, and then I said, hey, man, I got promoted at my job. I was moving to another state. Do you want to rent my house for me? He's like, sure, how much? And I told him. He's like, all right. I said, the deal is you got to send the money to the mortgage company every month when it's due. Okay. So that was our agreement. It was a handshake agreement. Well, for 5 months, he didn't pay our mortgage. So I was 5 months in arrears when the mortgage company came at me and said, hey, we're going to take your house back. It was a small amount. I mean, I can afford it now, in just a couple of paychecks. But back then, it was like, oh, shit. That's a lot of money. Bad blood there. A little bitter taste. But I didn't get mad at him. I was upset. I was sad. But I didn't get mad at him. And looking back, it's like, man, I'm glad I didn't, because I'm never going to lose a friendship over money. Thank you for the follow, or for the likes. We're almost to 15,000 there. Looking forward to that 15,000. That's going to grow. But I never had any issue with Dan as a result of, some of the things that we did. And I'm not saying this to, air anything out, but never turned my back on the guy because he was a good, genuine guy. And I saw the positivity in him. I saw the possibilities of him being somebody great. And I've never really been that hung up on money. Now, yeah, I need money. I need money to make the world go round. I need money to feed my kids. I need money to buy diapers, and I need money to, pay my bills. But when it comes right down to it, if I don't have the money to give, I'm not going to give the money. And I learned a very valuable lesson out of that deal, But I will never put financials in front of friendships. If somebody needs money and I have it, I'll give it. We do that. We donated the better part of $100,000 last year to thanks for coming in, brother. I appreciate it. I don't know if you're leaving or just giving me peace, love, or whatever, but I appreciate it, man. Or lady, I don't know. I don't know. I can't check that because I'm driving. But I see the fingers, so much love to you. But yeah, we last year we received donations and gave away donations. We did quite a few food donations. We did quite a few events for the homeless. We did quite a few events for Narcan training, and we did a lot of things for the community last year. And we donated collectively, between my wife and my children and I, almost 2,000 hours of our time, almost $100,000 worth of money to these people that were in need. And we didn't ask for anything in return. As a matter of fact, we didn't advertise the stuff that we did last year because it wasn't important to us. What was important to us was being able to give to those that need it when we didn't have, when we didn't need it. So, Davinator, what's up? David, Daviator? Daviator. I don't know. One of them names. Just fuck with you a little bit. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Show support and follow the host. Always something different on our podcast. Never linear. Always unique. We take a unique approach to everything that we do. If you've got an issue, a problem, or something that's really plaguing you and you want to see a different perspective on how to solve that issue, please let us know in the chat here. We'll approach it in any way possible. Together Light sometimes has questions that have been plaguing him, and he'll shoot one out there, and we'll talk about it for the drive. I like to talk. I like to be here. I like to help people solve their problems. I like to do it in a way that they never thought about doing it before. Change your mind. If you can hack your brain, you can change your life. Our brains are the most powerful supercomputers on the planet. Most of the time, we forget how to program them. Most of the time, we forget how to hack into the system and change it. That's all hackers do, is they go in and they change something. Most of the time, it's not the best. Most of the time, they're changing it for the worst. They're trying to get your information so that they can sell it to somebody or use it on the internet. I say hack away. I don't have a very good credit score. Definitely don't have any money in the bank. I'm one of the last people on the planet that you're going to want to hack into. I have nothing to offer. To be fully transparent, I keep myself poor so that I can stay humble. It's important for me to live that mindset and live that way. Till someday we're a syndicated radio show and we're able to talk about whatever needs to be talked about. But it's ironic that there's two things that radio stations look for in a DJ. They look for the voice, which I've got a face made for radio, and they look for the content. That's why we do so many different types of content, because all it takes is one person to stumble across it and be like, hey, you know what? This guy's interesting. Let's bring him onto the show. Let's offer him a job. I'd love to do it full time. Just can't afford the time to do it full time because I don't make the money for it. It's not lucrative. So we're at 14,879 hearts. I'm not sure how many hearts you get for a like, but I know it's more than one because Together Light's in here every single day, making that number go up for us, and we appreciate you for it. The Aviator, not sure what your background is. If I'm saying your name right, I would have a right mind to think that it has something to do with airplanes or let's see here, airlines or aviation of some sort, maybe military, Navy. One thing I can say, though, is we have a huge network of people that work with our mental health community. Feral Veteran over on TikTok, Smallsy Big OG, got to give them a shout out over there. Huge people when it comes to veterans and mental health with veterans. You got the entire Gumball Head Sobriety Society, Together Light, huge supporter of the show, L.A. Rogers, Papa Beard Beats, we got K.Hats Bolter. These are all TikTok names, by the way. Most of those people you can find under those names on Instagram and other social media. You can find us on Gumball Head, the Facebook page at Explore the Gumball, or you can just save yourself some time, go check out our link tree, follow our links there. You can see all of our information there. Our website, gumballhead.com. Thinking about changing it, though. But I think that I don't want to change it. I think I'd rather just create another website. And I think we need to create a website for the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast. Get all of our stuff off the Gumball Head thing and focus on our mental health stuff there, and then bring people over to the Normal Isn't Necessary podcast website. So, but regardless, Normal Isn't Necessary is available on all streaming platforms. You can find us anywhere people are streaming, and I have learned that iTunes has picked us up. We are doing iTunes now, but it's not to my doing. I don't believe that people should have to pay to get information. That's why I love iHeartRadio. That's why I love Spotify. That's why I love, all these others. But in order to listen to things on iTunes, you have to pay. So, and that's fine. It's fine with me. You can pay for it if you want. iTunes is pretty affordable. I use Tidal. I pay monthly. I think it's $15 a month. Tidal, I utilize Tidal because there's so many more titles on Tidal than any other streaming platform. I can listen to the obscure shit like Porcupine Tree and Einsters Ende Newbotten and Tom Joad and Frank Zappa entire collection on Tidal. You can't do that on the other streaming platforms. So, not encouraging anybody to go over to Tidal and do that. I'm just saying I like it there. It's a good place to be. And I don't use it. nearly as much as I should. I pay for it monthly, and whenever I want to listen to music, I utilize Tidal. But there are a lot of times where I just don't listen to it. I don't use it for a month. And then it's like, oh, I paid for it. I might as well listen to it. And then I'll be hyper on the music for a couple of days, and then peters right out. Too busy recording podcasts, playing video games, doing weird shit. Maybe I should start doing a podcast while I play video games so people can hear what I sound like when I play video games. I'm a completely different person there. It's humorous. So I hope you guys are having a great day. It's a beautiful day outside. If you're not having a good day, take your shoes off, take your socks off, go outside, put your feet in the grass, look up at the sun, and flip at the bird. Fuck you, son. Take your anger out on something that's not going to take its anger out back on you. Don't do it to your loved ones. Don't do it to your significant other, your children, your coworkers. Take it out on an inanimate object. That way you don't feel so bad. There's no guilt involved. Stupid piece of grass. Do it to something that's not going to give it back to you. Get all that frustration out. Feel good about getting that frustration out. Then go back in and tell everybody that's in the house, I love you. Take a look at your beautiful daughter, or your handsome son, or your spectacularly gorgeous wife, and just give them some words of affirmation. I'm about to pound out mine. Whoa. Pound out your frustrations. Oh, I get it. 100%. Oh, boy. That took a weird turn. Get angry, man. Sometimes that's the best way to go about it. Get angry. Just be like, jerk, angry jerk. Here's my jerk, jerking. I'm jerking my angry jerk. I think that's where skanking came in from, skanking when it comes to like ska music. It's the physical form of masturbation. Your whole body is working together. Synchronicity. Skanking to the beat. So I watched a TikTok video yesterday of the Gen Xers and, the new breed. And they were talking about words that correlate. And I learned, about Riz. I learned about gooning. I learned about, this and that and the other thing. Skibbity. It was like, really? All these words kids are saying nowadays don't even make sense. Back in my day, you'd be like, dude, homie, bro. What's up, dog? That's the shit I remember. Skibbity Riz, what the fuck does that even mean? It's Skibbity Riz. Gooning. Let's see here. No cap, no lie. For real, I don't understand. I don't have to understand. I'm not a part of that culture. Maybe I need to be a part of that culture. Maybe I'll be more relevant. Maybe I'll have more visibility when it comes to the podcast. But most of the time, people just call me Unc, old person. They're like, hey, what's up, Unc? I get it all the time on TikTok. What's up, Unc? What's up, Grandpa? How did you know? How did you know I was a grandpa? Is it the gray beard? Is it the septum piercing? Is it the ashy elbows? What is it? I don't have a problem being a grandpa. I love being a grandpa. It's fantastic. I love being a dad. It's fantastic too. And I love being a podcast host. I love doing it. I love being here for it. I'm waiting for one more like from Together Light, and then I can wrap this podcast for the day. So, The Aviator, if you're still in here and you got a like left in you, I'd love it. I would love to take your like from you. Get us over that 14,800 mark. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how many hearts get thrown up there when the light goes. So I'll let you know when the next one comes through. 14,879. It might only be one. It might be 40. It might be 26. I don't know. I do know that I haven't gotten any Podbeans in a while that I've cashed out on. We're actually going to use the next round of Podbeans to upgrade our podcast even more. I think the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to split off our podcast. One's going to be the Normal Isn't Necessary one, and one's going to be the Road Rants. But we're going to allow the listeners to delineate that. We're going to allow the listeners to pay for it. And if we don't ask for the money, we don't get the money. We got donation opportunities coming up here soon, and we do like the support. We love to support the likes and the small gift donations that we get on here. We're not going to be begging for money. We're not one of the religious podcasts that are constantly making people, pay to listen and stuff like that. But we need to monetize because we have a lot of things that we need to pay for. And the greatest thing about it is those that are motivated to watch us succeed are those that are going to help us succeed financially, and they do it in unique ways, and we love that about them. Error code 404. What does that even mean? Normally that means that site's not available. I don't even know what that means, dude. I can only assume what it means, but I don't know. So, your hearts. Okay. All right. Well, there comes a heart through, and it didn't change the it's 1. It's 1. 14,879 now. That's cool. Whatever. I ain't mad about it. I do know that sometimes people throw out those gifts, the hearts, the hands, the likes, the celebrations, this and that and the other thing, and don't feel obligated. Just do it. Just do it, and don't feel bad about it. It goes to a good cause. I'm not going to make you do it. I'm just going to ask you to do it. So, but I appreciate the likes, Caleb. I appreciate the likes from everybody. 10,414 of those likes, I think, that you have next to yours. That's a lot of liking, man. That's a lot of love that you've given to people on Podbean. And I encourage everybody that I've hosted on the Podbean that's come on as a guest, I tell them, now that you have a Podbean account, you should start a podcast. You should start a podcast. You should start talking about what you're passionate about. The only way that you're ever going to get that passion released from the depths of your soul is if you talk about it. If you don't talk about it, nobody's going to know you're passionate about it. So I appreciate everybody here. I'm going to stop and get some gas, put some gas in the car, put some gas in my tank, get ready for my podcast tonight with the band. And looking forward to it. Anti-Wise will be up tonight. We'll be running that podcast live here on Podbean. If you're a follower, you will get a notification that we are live. Save your love for that live. If you have the opportunity tonight, Mr. Together Light, please come in there and moderate that room if you have a chance. Otherwise, go about your business and do your thing. Until our paths cross. Stay strong, stay focused, stay sober, guys. Much love. We'll see you soon.